QMJHL fans, thanks for joining us tonight for another Facebook Live session. As you can see on your screens, tonight's guest is Ethan Gauthier from the Sherbrooke Phoenix. Ethan had a busy week, just came freshly back from the Kubota Top Prospects game. So, Ethan, thanks for taking the time for doing this, and welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Obviously, like I just mentioned, a pretty busy week for you. Just came back from the Top Prospects game. How was that experience? What were your first thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously it was great. I mean, it was a great opportunity for me to kind of show my identity, show what I want to prove, what the NHL team can expect from me if they draft me. And also, it was a great opportunity to see all the guys I've played with this summer at the U18, U17 last year too. So it was great to see the guys again. And obviously, it was a great experience. We had a pretty great group. Coaches, Brent Seabrook. We had the Sedin's brother there. So obviously, it was a pretty special week. But the game went pretty well. I mean, I got a little food poisoning the day before the game, so I had a little problem with that. But I think overall, I'm pretty happy of how everything went.
How'd you manage that? Did that influence your whole day at all? I know you guys had some on ice testing and all that, but
yeah, I did absolutely. I mean, I woke up at like 4 in the morning and couldn't get to sleep at all after that. I would go back and forth to the bathroom like every 30 seconds, every 30 minutes, and my energy level was really low. Honestly, it was kind of hard to manage that. Like everything I would try to eat or drink after that would just come right back out. So
yeah.
it was pretty hard. I mean, the only thing I got to eat before the game was like half of like spaghetti or something. So like I basically ate nothing. Like my energy was really low, but obviously I'm pretty happy of how it went. Like I didn't play an A+ game, but overall I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, knowing what we know now, you still managed to put a
Yeah.
good game together for sure. I mean, add that to the bucket list of adversity you have to face. I mean, there's one step there for sure. Now, you were mentioning you go there obviously to showcase your skills, showcase what you got. You're already one of the highest ranked prospects in North America right now, the highest ranked prospect in the queue as well. Now, do you approach that whole thing as like just another game, or is it really like you're trying to show something, or is it sort of like your last shot to impress the scouts?
No, I think I need to approach it like a normal game. I don't think having a terrible game there is gonna change everything, or maybe even nothing. Like um, I think it's more just like kind of a game to show like even more. Like it's a good opportunity for all the scouts to have like all the best prospect in the same game. But they have like reports on maybe 20, 25 games this year, and so that's just one out of 25, 26 games. So
Yeah.
obviously, I don't think that one game, if you play bad, you're gonna go down like 5 ranks or something. Like I think it's just a game to prove what you got to prove, show your identity, show the way you play, show what type of player you are, show character and like little stuff like that. And for myself, it was pretty much that, like just approach it like a normal game and plan my identity, stick to it, and just show what I can do out there.
And I saw from the interviews we did through on the QMJHL social accounts, even Mathieu Catafal was saying, you can show some things during that game, but you can't really lose points. Basically, you can just show more of what you have instead of going down the ranking. So that follows up a little bit of what you just said there. Now, obviously, going there, you said it's all about identity, showing what you got in that. But I'm guessing you're also a sponge, try to take a little bit of everyone's game, see how the other guys from the other leagues are. And obviously, this year you got the chance to share the ice with Connor Bedard. So, is there anything you sort of like took back from that experience, or that you're going to use in your own game from now on?
Not really, honestly. I think obviously when you go there, you just want to listen. You get had the chance of like I said, Brent Seabrook, Sedin's. Like I think it's more like maybe coaching staff that lived what's an NHL career and stuff like that. So obviously it's always fun to be around those guys. But it was great to see other guys. Like you said, I had the chance to be on the same ice as Connor Bedard. Obviously, I'm not gonna come back in my team and score 3 goals every game. So I think it's just like being there with him was pretty special. But I think overall it's just sticking to my identity. I think obviously you're out there and you see so much talent, like Benson, like Jagger, all those guys that were playing with me at the U18 that were really solid. So being on the same ice as them was pretty awesome, and obviously it was a pretty high-paced game, pretty physical as well. So it was nice.
Yeah, I know. Were you surprised to see a fight? I was surprised watching it. I was like, wow, this is edgy for sure.
I know Lindy, so I knew it might be coming. Obviously, I mean, me and Lindy had a fun time at the U18 too, just
Yeah.
running people. So, he's a great guy, and he kind of told us before the game. He said, like, I think I might go tonight. I was like, all right, Lindy, let's go, show it. And happened, so it was pretty nice. Yeah.
Get the boys fired up for sure.
Oh yeah, the
So
coaches too.
yeah, for sure. I'm sure they like it too. It's free action for them. So now that we know what you've been up to lately, meaning this week, I want to sort of take it back to your first days in the queue. So obviously you had a pretty special draft. You didn't have to wait too long before you're hearing your name called and all that. But your draft was special in a way in the fact that basically it wasn't live. It was following up on a COVID season. So I want to know a little bit, what were did you have any expectations going to the draft? Were you scared at all because you didn't really get to showcase your game in the year before? How was that for you?
Yeah, obviously it was pretty hard, like knowing you haven't played a single game in AAA and like you couldn't prove what you had to prove, or like obviously not. My last games were bantam before the draft, so
Yeah.
it was like a pretty big step. But um, at one point I was like hesitating between like the states, the national program, US national program, and the Q, and then no, at one point I kind of figured out that Sherbrooke was gonna draft me. So I knew it kind of like a week or two before the draft. Maybe they told me, they made me come to Sherbrooke. They announced me like I was gonna be their pick, and choose my number and everything. And just obviously I was there at the draft after that in Sherbrooke at the Delta, where at the hotel, all the organization, the league, and everything was there. So obviously it's not the kind of draft we would want, but they made it pretty special. To be honest, it was pretty nice setup there, and being there with my family as well was pretty awesome.
And obviously being the top ranked guy, I mean, does that come, like you said, you didn't have any expectations, not knowing what you could have done better basically the year before without having games to prove yourself. But I mean, once it was official that you were their top guy and everything, did that sort of like, click something in you that like, oh my God, this is added pressure. Now it's time to shine?
Not really. I think it's just like obviously when you go out first, you kind of have like a certain expectation towards yourself, and
Yeah.
I think it was more like that for me. It wasn't like expectations of like what people would think or whatever. I think it was more like based on myself. Like obviously, I always want to push myself. I always want to be the best player every day, and for myself was that going into the first season, I just wanted to. No, I didn't know what to expect, honestly, going through that first season. Obviously, my last game was bantam, and not playing midget was a pretty big jump for me. And just physically, the guys are like bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
Going into corners between like against like 19, 20 years olds instead of like 14, 15 years olds is pretty big difference as well. So I think that was the biggest adaptation I needed to do. Going to junior. So
Yeah.
my first half of the season was, I mean, pretty hard for me. I mean, like I said, I didn't know what to expect. It was kind of not not what I expected at all. But I had maybe a tough time dealing with pressure as well. At one point, when things went sideways a bit, like
Yeah.
obviously you start thinking, oh my God, I need to show, I need to be good and the first overall pick or whatever. And when I came back after Christmas, it just made like a huge refresh, just like come back, settle down, and just like go empty-minded, just play like empty-minded, not thinking about anything else. And that's
Mhm.
where I started to have some success. So obviously it was the right thing to do, and I'm pretty happy how that second half of the season went, and obviously I kind of went off from there.
And you're mentioning basically the second half of the season where you sort of gain confidence, after going through a little bit of that pressure. Now, most guys we get on here, I usually ask them in their first seasons who are the veterans that took them under their wing. But you're lucky enough to share the ice with another former first overall pick in the Q, and Josh Roy. Was he the guy who sort of guided you? Did he give you any tips and pointers that sort of helped you get back on track?
Yeah, I think like Josh is probably the first or like one of the two or three first guys that came up to me when I got drafted, just text me like, "Hey, welcome to our team," whatever. And first day I was here, he just came right up to me and just starting to talk to me, like just make me feel comfortable. And obviously he's been a great leader for me. And obviously, like you said, he knows what it is. He's been there. Kind of the same spot, first overall pick as well. Had to deal with that pressure probably at one point in his first year as well. So
For sure.
obviously, he was there when things were going sideways, and he kind of made me feel more confident. Like I think at one point I maybe had like a game or two with him at my 16 years old. Just like that made me feel like so much like made me like so much more confident. And it's a little thing just playing with like Josh, and I think I was playing with Parent as well, like just a game or two, and just made me feel confident, and went off from there. And Parent is another one, our captain last year, that probably the best leader I've had so far in my career. And um, he just works so hard. His work ethic, just the way he competes, the way he is in the room. He's just a great teammate as well. So obviously last year I had a lot of guys to look up to, and Josh and Xav were obviously those two special ones for me.
And obviously now you're talking about leadership in the dressing room and how that helped out, but you have a great supporting cast around you. So obviously for people who don't know that are watching online, your brother Kalen is currently the Sherbrooke captain. So he plays alongside you now. You've got your dad, Denis, who's a former NHLer as well, and your cousin Julien, who's in the NHL right now. So, I mean, are there anything or lessons learned from those guys that basically going in, you sort of had knew what to expect, in your first QMJHL season without having played any games? At least you had a good base or knowledge of what was coming?
I mean, I don't remember that much. Obviously, like my brother probably taught, like, gave me a couple cues, and like how it go, how's the cue and like what it is and everything.
Yeah.
But obviously my dad's been through there as well, my brother, and I think they've been really good for me throughout my career. And I think my brother's been a huge part of my career as well. Just from the day we started to train together, he probably changed my whole career, honestly. Like at one point I was kind of the guy that had it like pretty easy, skilled guy, just didn't want to work harder than what I didn't need to. Like when I was younger, it was pretty easy, and then at one point it catched up to me. And that's kind of when my brother came in and just taught me that talent on his own won't get very far. So that's when I kind of learned how to like manage like talent, effort, like work ethic, details, and stuff like that. And that's kind of when my career started off. And my dad, like I said, he's lived an NHL career. He knows what it takes to get there. So obviously I'm lucky to have those tools, like those people around me. That's something not a lot of players have around them. And I just want to use them the most as possible. I think they're right there, they're right besides me, and they're supporting me since I'm young, so I'm lucky to have them.
Now, be honest. What was your first reaction when you found out your brother was going to play with you?
Oh my god! I mean, we had a video actually. It's like we were at our cabin in Mont-Tremblant, and we were playing like a board game and something, and then my dad just like posted up on the like TV a photo of me and my brother at my draft. So my brother was wearing a Sherbrooke jersey as well, and
Okay.
like me and my brother were like, "What's that for?" And then we kind of realized a couple of seconds later that it actually happened. Like the trade was done, and we were kind of speechless. Honestly, it's just like I said, he's been a great part of my career so far. Like I don't even think without him I would be where I am today. So just having him besides me now in Sherbrooke is pretty awesome. We're just enjoying all our days together here, and obviously we both know it's probably our last year to play together, so we just want to enjoy it.
For sure. And I mean, obviously you were mentioning the knowledge and sort of the things he shared with you, showing you that work ethic, what it takes to make it in the junior level. And ironically, it's the same things that apply for the NHL now that you're in your draft year. It's all about work ethic, attitude, and all that. But I'm guessing being the younger brother also, brought a few battles and some off the ice stuff. I mean, you have any stories you can share about you and your brother growing up?
Yeah, I think we were pretty rough when we were younger. I think my brother kind of like we're always fighting and stuff, and then my brother kind of punched me with those like big like Hulk gloves, and then just banged my head on the corner of the wall, and like I had a couple of stitches in my head. The walls were yellow, the rug was like beige, like everything was just like all in covered in blood. Or like other than that, we were playing mini hockey at once, and I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old, and my brother won't let me score, so I was just getting like pretty angry and just slapped my stick off his head, and then he had a couple stitches too. So a couple stories like that. I was just like pretty rough when we were younger, but we're lucky to have our relationship today. Honestly, we're really close now.
So we'll credit your brother with your competitive side as well, because he definitely helped you with that one.
He did
What
definitely.
what about in practice? Must be interesting. You being a forward, him being a defenseman, you guys facing off pretty much daily. I mean, does it intensify those one-on-one battles, or is it just another guy for you?
Yeah, it does. And I think the worst of that is like morning stage. We have that one-on-one drill in the corner, and then we're not going against now lately because it was getting pretty rough out there. Like we're just going 1-on-1, and I don't even think we're playing the puck, and we're just going shoulder to shoulder every time. And like our coach or like other teammates were getting like pretty pumped. And yeah, sometimes I think the last time it finished, like I got a stick in the face or like elbow in his face, stuff like that. So we just said like, oh, we're not going against each other again. So it's like morning, so you don't want to get injured there. So, but yeah, it obviously gets really competitive when we're against.
Must be an awkward position for your coach to separate you in practice. The two brothers going at it.
It's pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. You mentioned it quickly earlier when you said Sherbrooke brought you in your draft year. They basically told you before that you were going to be their pick, and you got to choose your number. And it sort of stuck to me because I wanted to know what's the reasoning behind that number you're wearing now. It's 79, right?
Yeah. Growing up, I always wore number 9. I had like number 9, number 15, and 44, I think. But like 9
Okay.
was like my go-to number. Kind of was like the number I would like my first pick. And then when I get to Benham, 9 wasn't available. There was like a couple numbers, and 7 is Brady Tkachuk, the guy I kind of modeled my game at, and the guy like I look up to, and I just thought mixing up the 7 and the 9 would be a good option for me. So I played with that number. It went pretty well. Had a good season, and then I just stick to it. So
Yeah, I was curious. I was like, it's either there's a reasoning behind it or it's Andrei Markov. But I was like, that was a far reach. Definitely a good pro, though. But I mean, probably not the guy you model your game after. So just to finish off here, we're going to wrap up because you got to do this same interview on our French channels in a few minutes. Any goals, expectations for yourself for the end of the year? Obviously, Sherbrooke is rolling with a strong team. You're in your NHL draft year. So, I mean, are you just letting loose for the rest of the way? Any added pressure? What are you thinking right now?
Obviously, we won the cup this year. I think we're all grateful to have a team with all it takes to we have everything we need now. So
yeah,
I think the rest is in our hands. We just gotta work all the way up. But like I said, we have everything. Obviously, everyone wants to win a cup. Most of our group is 19, 20 years old, so might be the last year for a big part of our group. So and obviously, it's my last year here with my brother in Sherbrooke. So I think just enjoying that last year with him and trying to win the championship is my goals for this year.
Definitely good goals to have for sure.
Thank you.
So like I said, again, thanks for taking the time for doing this. Obviously, you guys have a pretty busy schedule. And for those of you who are watching online, Ethan is going to shift to our French Facebook page if you want to follow the rest of this interview. If not, it'll be findable on our YouTube channel later on. So Ethan, thanks again for doing this. Best of luck the rest of the way. And we'll wish you nothing but the best for the rest of the season here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man.